Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt is on a real TV this time. So
I can break out.
Yes, yeah, you can actually you can maybe shake your way off of the shelf there. So Chris was stuck at work, and Matt was kind enough to jump on the actual TV. So he's this is digital Matt. This is not analog Matt anymore. So this week on the Weekly, players' handbook orders have been canceled. There's a Paul Sawyer charity, a Gold Teeth Kickstarter, Vanguard Normandy by Warlord Games, the Expanse Transport Union Edition, an Elfquest reissue, and some good news about Broken Compass. So let's start with a little a little Wizards of the Coast news.
Not the best.
Right. So not the best, as has been reported, and I haven't seen an update on this, so I'm not sure where a lot of this stands. I think it's case by case. Tons of fans had their pre-orders for the physical 2024 Player's Handbook canceled. So so they're this big push. They're trying to get all this pre-orders because that means, they'll have a ballpark about how much they need to print, and they're not going to overprint or do anything stupid. But inexplicably, these pre-orders have been canceled, and players are taking to social media and the D&D Beyond forums and saying, what is going on? So the release date was September 17th. So that should have been when everyone was getting shipped their orders. And shortly before that, I think just a week before that, people were noticing they were getting emails their payment didn't go through. A majority of these payments were done through PayPal. So there may be some problem with either how Wizards had their PayPal set up, or how that, there must have been some snafu there. And other people were saying that they had ordered bundles where they would get a physical and PDF version of everything, and they got charged for half, and looked like their digital version was going to go through and the physical wasn't. So it's very confusing. So this all landed on the head of community manager Latia Jacques, and she posted on the I'm guessing posted on the D&D Beyond forum, asking everyone impacted to open a support ticket, because you know how well those systems work. And they're promising, I'm not sure how successful they were before the 17th, to actually revert these cancellations into paying customers. But this could be a pretty big blow to this new revision, 2024 revision. If the first book they released, they didn't even get to ship it to everybody that ordered it, and it's probably going to slow down people then from ordering the next book if they were just kind of like, most people probably did the whole thing at once. But if you're going to kind of Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, maybe you'll stop and think before you'll just wait for it to be on a shelf somewhere where you can physically pick it up instead of pre-ordering. So what is
the exact opposite of what Wizards wants you to do?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you think happened, Matt? Do you think just incompetence, or something in the wacky world of credit card accounts?
Maybe Wizards let a link to a domain lapse like Astral, and they got relinked to some pornography or something.
Right. Yeah, that'd be great if somebody hijacked their PayPal account or something, because that would make sense if you could figure out, they're processing a lot through PayPal. If we hack their PayPal account, we could just cancel all the orders. Yeah, so who knows? Who knows what this is? I haven't seen an update, and of course, the release date has already passed, so we'll see how many unhappy customers there remains, for the rest of the month. So good job, Wizards. Keep it up. I'm sure you'll I'm sure you'll blow this whole we can't do anything past 5th edition thing. All right. So we reported on this a few weeks ago, and it's so sad. The sad news continues, and this feels like eerily familiar to the Janelle Jacques updates that we got in the previous year. Paul Sawyer. A GoFundMe page has been set up by his daughter, Holly. And if you remember the report, in April 13th, 2024, when Sawyer was attending the Salute, I believe, in London, the Salute convention in London, he collapsed. And so the text from the GoFundMe page is on April 13th, 2024, Dad was taken ill at a wargaming conference in London, and the family were told to head to London right away. I'll refer to him as Paul for the purposes of the story, as many know Dad as a bit of a wargaming legend. At first, the medics thought he had suffered a stroke, and he was put into an induced coma and remained in ICU for the next week. Following copious tests and scans, they finally received the devastating news in May that he had stage 4 glioblastoma, one of the most aggressive and deadly forms of brain cancer. So since the diagnosis, Paul has received incredibly intense treatments in an attempt to shrink the tumor and buy us some more time with him. But the fact remains that his diagnosis is terminal, and he is only expected to live 12 to 14 months from the diagnosis. So it's become our mission to make Dad's last months as happy and as exciting as we can, so that he has the chance to truly live every single day. Since people have found out about this diagnosis, there have been an overwhelming display of kindness from all across the world, with many asking if there's any way in which they can help. So we're currently trying to get some disability aid and home adaptation to help Dad keep his independent mobility as long as he can. Unfortunately, there's only so much that the NHS can do, and we're opening up the opportunity for anyone who has ever known Dad or appreciated his work over the years to donate anything they can to help us make Dad as comfortable as possible, comfortable and happy as possible. So really sad news. We had talked about this before. It had started to come out on Facebook in the comment section that it was in fact a cancer diagnosis, and the URL for the GoFundMe is really sad too. It's make Dad's remaining months happy and comfortable. Yeah, it's really sad. So, and as you know, Sawyer is one of the co-founders of Warlord Games, along with John Stollard. So John Stollard also added, "Please give generously if you are able. Paul is a legend of the wargaming industry and a truly excellent human being. As a community, we look after our own." Yeah, so very sad. And again, just similar to the first announcements that we saw, many comments of memories and reminiscence of interacting with Paul at conventions and online, and just the effect that he had on the community. So that's a real sad news to see, and we hope for the best. But yeah, it's just it doesn't sound good. It's kind of the worst. If you from collapsing, it's the worst possible result. That it's just a ticking clock. But I'll put the link to the GoFundMe. So anybody that is able should definitely support this, because as you know, there's only so much that the government is going to do for you, and to make things as nice as possible. So our thoughts go out to the family. Hope it's a good year.
Yeah, that's sad. I didn't off the top of my head remember what he had worked on specifically, but he was the editor of White Dwarf, which is cool.
Yeah, and I guess it'd been like a mainstay in wargaming like the entire time. And as we moved away from Games Workshop, and they founded Warlord. I think we talked. Yeah, we've got the date. I think in the early 2000s. Founded Warlord, and Warlord is turning out to be the refuge of all escapees of Games Workshop.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. But that's So it's tough. It's bad to have these sudden things happen.
Those OG GW guys they're pretty long in the tooth. I feel like we're going to be having more and more of these stories.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's really, we're going to have to start a whole category of obituary. That's really really sad. Yeah, the one website I worked on for RC Harvey before he passed, that started he covered cartoonists, basically comic book artists and cartoonists, and the people that he started with are the people that he idolized. They started to fall away, and so every week we would have just passing through kind of in remembrance. It became that common. So we're headed that way. Upturned Table is going to have their in memoriam every week. That's depressing.
You'll have to do a year-end one like the Oscars.
Yeah, right. And decide to snub somebody just because.
Yeah. forget someone and catch a hell for it. Yep.
So brutal. All right. Well, are you ready for some piracy and the occult, Matt?
Always.
Yes. So we were talking about trying to do maybe playing some pirate board or getting some pirate mojo going. And there is a tabletop RPG that was originally released. So this was a comic horror tabletop RPG called Teeth that was a pretty big hit for the writers Jim Rossignol and Marsh Davies of Big Robot. So they earned some nominations in the 2024 Ennies for Teeth. And they have decided to kind of up the ante a little bit and capitalize kind of on this momentum and flesh out their game a little more, change the setting a little bit. And they're releasing an occult horror themed RPG called Gold Teeth. So this went live beginning of this week. Gold Teeth is described as a grotesquely comic tabletop RPG for 3 to 6 people about piracy and occult horror in the cursed corners of the Caribbean. So they're going to be releasing a 350-page full-color hardback book, horribly illustrated, and it's I would not say horrible, it's more like mediocre. I wasn't blown away by the illustrations, but it does look like people did them, like real people did them. So that's good. And they're changing the setting. The original Teeth setting was Northern England in the year 1781. Gold Teeth takes you to the Caribbean in 1781. And basically the Punch Bowl of Antilles is one of the brutal locations. So the tropical archipelago brutalized by colonial powers and further cursed by the detonation of an occult weapon 1 year past. So, you'll get a chance, and your characters are involved in a desperate redemption. So avoiding, the punishment of all pirates to subvert this doom. So you're racing against supernatural dooms, and what they're trying to give you is a very fun kind of a Cthulhu experience, and also a very entertaining rules for ships fighting each other as well. So some ship-to-ship combat and some. Saving the world from some occult weapon that has been detonated. So, what do you think? Do you think comic horror? I guess they're calling it occult themed, but it's not cosmic, but comic horror. Comic horror, pirate RPG.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Kickstarter page right now. The art is kind of like mid-tier comic art. Like some of it kind of looks like. Really old school comic book art.
Yes.
It definitely is very different than the pirate board aesthetic. It's Forged in the Dark system, which might be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder.
It doesn't grab me like Pirate Borg. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, and it's hard to maintain. Like, it's hard to keep things on the rails sometimes if it's like comic. If you go into it thinking, "Oh, this is supposed to be funny. We're supposed to be doing silly, ridiculous things," that sometimes, overpower the players a little bit. But I thought it was worth mentioning because they got some attention for Teeth, so they're trying to turn this into a bigger thing. So we'll see how it does on crowdfunding, and I'll put a link to that. You got quite a few days. I think it just started at the beginning of the week, so you got another few weeks to catch on. And speaking of Warlord Games, so Paul Sawyer, one of the co-founders we mentioned earlier, Warlord Games is trying something. It sounds like kind of a gateway game for their bolt action system, their historical system. So Warlord Games has announced a new board game that they're going to Kickstarter, and this is the first time that they've crowdfunded a board game because they're known as a miniature war game company. So their first board game, and it's called Vanguard Normandy. So it's a different take on World War II, but it is going to use their dice activation system, where you draw dice. Colored dice out of a pouch or a cup, and they're color coded to the faction, and then you give that die an order, and all 6 sides have the different orders that are available to those units. So 1 to 4 players. And what they're also producing for the game is epic scale. So, kind of board game miniatures, but small scale. And that was the first thing, being a miniatures company, that was the first thing that the commenters jumped on, is these are board game miniatures. And I don't think people realized how small the scale was. So they took like magnified images of the miniatures. You couldn't quite tell how big they were. There was nothing, no relative scale for them. And people were saying the detail is horrible. These look horrible. I don't want these miniatures. I don't want to have anything to do with them. They don't look like, Warlord's typical miniatures, but, when you know that they are epic scale, you know that, they've reduced things quite small, and it's going to be hex maps. So what they're trying to do is a quick and simple game where you generate unique battlefields due to it all being on hexes. So you can kind of randomize how things are presented to give you different challenges. So, the miniatures are going to be a smaller scale, so you're not going to get the detail. And if you're about painting the historical, your World War II miniatures, it may be kind of frustrating. There will be a dedicated solo play mode, and that may work well to learn the rules to then teach other people. So if you get the game and start out just playing some solo sessions, then you'll know how to teach it better, as happens sometimes. But so this is interesting. It does really feel like a gateway. Like if you like the style of activation, and I'm not sure, how close the rules are. It might be more Risk-like. It might be, more similar to Risk than Bolt Action. But if you like the setting, it may draw you into either, Bolt Action historical World War II, or even the Conflict 47. If you want to get weird and supernatural.
It looks very Memoir 44.
Ah, yeah, right.
Like the hex maps and the small minis to go in the hexes. But I mean, with a World War II game, I think a hex grid is actually a really useful way to do it, because you're not dealing with rank and file or anything.
Yes, right. And
however, I'm looking at their company's page for it, and it is kind of funny because they have a really nice black and white picture of 3 models that are clearly the original, probably 3D render or whatever.
Oh, right.
they look really nice. And then right under it is a color picture of the game in play, and those. Yeah, it's like you dropped your DPI by like a half or something.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. That's tricky because because it's Warlord Games, people have a certain expectation, and they've done the 28, mil scale miniatures well for a long time. So to do a board game and kind of reduce the quality of everything, I think it's going to make some people. I mean, but this could get on the shelves though much more easily than Bolt Action could. So I think as a gateway, this might be a good idea to get. But I'm not sure. I wonder. I know Bolt Action is popular. I think it's as far as like competitors to Warhammer, I think Bolt Action in some areas of the world is way up there, but I'm not sure about World War II. I'm not sure if the popularity is like hanging in there for historical recreation in World War II. So that's that's Bolt Action's bread and butter. So we'll see what happens with that, if it can bring people in. But so Vanguard Normandy, October 1st on Kickstarter. So it'll be nice to see this show up in places. But this is strange. I mean, I hope Warlord doesn't get addicted, because they've done a great job of releasing IPs like all the 2000 AD sets, and working with great former Games Workshop designers to do interesting games and settings, and none of it going to crowdfunding. They just do pre-orders, So if they start to get on this crowdfunding kind of cycle of doom where they're raising money, but they actually don't raising enough money, and end up to ship things or to produce things, they end up in debt and need they need the next crowdfunder to pay for the remaining, so I hope that doesn't happen to them. But,
I'm probably going to follow this one, because if it has the vibe of Memoir 44, but maybe has more flexibility in terms of how the games are set up and go, I might get into it, because Memoir 44 was real linear. And
yeah.
You set up your minis here and go, you know.
Yeah.
And, so if it has more flexibility because it's coming from people who design miniature games, that might be worth checking out.
Yeah, and if it's a little bit, because it's a hex map, a little bit more throwback to the kind of the historical chit-based, cardboard chit games, that might be pretty cool, because these guys are from that era as well. So yeah, we shall see. But it's definitely worth keeping your eye on, especially I've never played Bolt Action, but I played the Bolt Action rules with the Gates of Antares, the sci-fi version of that, and I like that activation. I think that works well. The pinning mechanics and the activation mechanics work well. I don't think those are going to be in this board game, but at least the dice activation will be there. All right. And this is another upcoming crowdfunder. Green Ronin is producing a new updated version. I don't think it's a full version, but it's an updated version. Or no, I guess no, new edition. Yeah, they call it a new edition. The Expanse. So the Expanse Transport Union Edition role-playing game from Green Ronin is it's on crowdfunding now. So yeah, I've got about a month left. So they're going to release expanded rules, and this setting for the Transport Union Edition is going to be set in the 30-year span between Babylon's Ashes and Persepolis Rising, those novels in the Expanse series. This campaign includes 3 supplements, dice, of course, accessories, and for the first time, miniatures made by War Games Atlantic. I was surprised to see a box of I like those miniatures because they have a lot of different options on the sprues. So, of course, the Expanse is based on the James S.A. Corey science fiction novels, which are in fact two writers working collaboratively under a pen name. And this I can't remember the system they use, but a lot of their story is based on a tabletop role-playing campaign that they did together. I don't know if it was Traveler or what it was, but they were playing a sci-fi role-playing game, and that's where these characters came from for the first for Expanse. So that was a fun thing, and they actually write their characters' chapters and then hand them off to edit each other's work. So I thought that was a fun writing process, and actually generated an interesting story, that kind of sustained itself, and a nice setting from a role play campaign. So this is so it first was available in 2019. And the tabletop role-playing game. This will be a new updated core rule edition, a core rule book, and it'll be a good point to enter because everything has kind of been cleaned up. And I think we're past this, but the first 48 hours for early backers gave you a bonus of a quick start PDF. That doesn't seem like much of an early bonus. It seems like everybody should have access to the quick start PDF to see what the game is like, but maybe they're assuming since it's already out, you might already know. So in this edition, you'll have, of course, character creation, challenges to technology, and then also spaceship combat. But it is, depending on your opinion of this, it is using the adventure game engine, so the Age system. So Chris Pramas designed the system to be easy to learn and fun to play, and it powers many of Green Ronin's games. So Dragon Age, Fantasy Age, Blue Rose, Modern Age, or Cthulhu Awakens all use that system. So if you're familiar with it, you will be right at home. If you don't like it, then maybe you want to just read some of the setting. But it has a stunt system that lets characters pull off dramatic maneuvers and gain advantage or change situations. And the character system itself is a robust classless system that will allow you to be Earth scientists, naval personnel, Martian Marines, politicians, or even Belter pirates and hackers in the Expanse setting. So there's a lot of extra stuff. They're doing the typical Q Factory custom dice, Q Workshop, which I'm getting a little tired of. The ornate, they're nice, they're ornate etched, but they're not so readable most of the time, and they're so intricate that it's getting hard to tell. Are these cyberpunk dice? Are these Cthulhu dice? Are these steampunk? The scroll work is so intricate. It's like, it looks nice, I guess, but that number is so small.
Yeah, very busy.
Yes, yeah. They make some busy dice. But they're working with Q Workshop for the dice. They're doing virtual tabletop options, so both Roll20 and Foundry are supported. And a character dossier, campaign journal, condition decks, and also this sounds pretty useful, a game master's kit. So the game master's kit, of course, is the game master's screen, but it also gives you quick reference cards for all the stunts and actions, a combat tracker, pre-generated characters, and a complete adventure, the Ganymede insurance job, to jump right in. So kind of like it's closer to a starter set. The game master's kit sounds closer to a starter set. But there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, so they seem to be and they might take, so some of the stretch goals involve taking some of the things that may only be released as PDF and actually printing them as hardcover books, including the Daemon's Gambit. So we'll see how much interest there is. What do you think?
I'm following this one, I love the Expanse. Really enjoyed that show, and I actually props to Green Ronin, because when I saw the advertisement for this, I asked them on Facebook what system it was, and they answered me quite quickly. Oh, nice. which is rare.
Nice,
but it is that age system, which I'm gonna have to go back and, I don't know, maybe rewatch some videos or something, because I don't remember it exactly, but I do remember my original impression was I didn't like it.
Yes.
However, my first introduction to it was a Will Wheaton, actual play thing they did on what was that channel? Geek and Sundry?
Yeah.
Right. So, it's not really the game's fault.
Right. Yeah. Maybe some personality contaminated it. Yeah.
But, I'll have to go back and look, because I love The Expanse. And The Expanse and Firefly are two properties I would love to play an RPG in.
Yeah, me too. I love both of those settings. Yeah. Oh, so the one thing I wanted to kind of reiterate or point out, that's part of this campaign is, so War Games Atlantic did special miniatures, plastic miniatures for The Expanse. So they have two boxes, a crew box and a ship box. And it's pretty awesome. So the ship box has flight stands, has the clear acrylic flight stands for all of the ships. And the multi-part kits for the crew are awesome. They would work well for Stargrave, for anything, because they're just that real standard. I mean, because of the War Games Atlantic kind of proportions, you don't really see a belter kind of proportioned miniature. They're all kind of that same kind of chunky human scale. So really, even in the TV show, they didn't make belters particularly thin and as oversized as they were in the books, but really nice options. Like on every sprue, they give you several options to really create a unique looking crew, and it's all that kind of reality based sci-fi stuff that the Expanse show used. So you can create your characters or NPCs, and really nice. As usual, War Games Atlantic does. Yeah, nice miniature. So it's nice to see they're doing a specifically for The Expanse, they're doing an actual miniature set. So what these boxes include are 3 identical sprues, but they allow you to create 18 miniatures, and there's so many options on every sprue. You're not creating 18 identical miniatures. There's, that 12 different heads among those that, or probably more than that, that give you quite a bit of variety. And the thing that got me is they know it's The Expanse, because a few of the female heads have the 0G kind of floating hair, and that was like a big image. There's a big image in the book, so it's like finally they know some kind of very recognizable identifier. And the ships look good too. The ships look really nice. So it's a neat idea. So the scale of the ships is a 1/1000th scale. So you've got the Rocinante is about 2 inches long, basically. The destroyers are about 6. Yeah. So it would be worth it just for the miniatures, because those are great. That's great fun just to have the ships to paint.
Curious to see how they handle, what kind of rules they implement for ship combat.
Yeah,
because that is such a hard science based universe. You can't really. You can, but you you wouldn't want to hand wave that stuff as much, I assume. But.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, and you got to roll for your juice too, right? When you're going at those speeds, you're going to have to get injected in your seat. But so it's interesting to see, and I'm like you, Matt. I like that setting, so I'd be interested to play in it. I just don't know if the age system is the perfect match, but it's worth a try. And yes, and of course they have all the different levels from digital only, miniatures only, which that's very tempting for me. Miniatures only, and then full set of everything they're producing, including the dice and GM screens and stuff. All right, our next announcement. This is really a blast from the past. Chaosium announces the return of Elfquest. I'll say, well, what? Yes. So in collaboration with the original creators, Wendy and Richard Pini, they have announced that they're going to, so this is a reissue. It's not like a remaster or anything. They're just going to reissue the 1984 role-playing game. And of course, using the basic role-play system based on the popular Elfquest comic series. Chaosium is going to. So they're going to work together to. I think basically, this reissue will feature the original artwork by Wendy, and which has become a very integral part of Elfquest over 45 years. And they've done this in the past. I think I did an unboxing of the Call of Cthulhu Classic, which is essentially the second edition, but that box set, and it was just perfect. I mean, they really, really went all in to like clean up any of the scans, and the reproduction of the original booklets was just absolutely perfect. So if they do that level of quality to this reissue, it's going to be the same. And also RuneQuest Classic got a nice reissue of that original book. And so, quote from Chaosium: "For years, Elfquest fans have asked us to bring back the game into print, and based on what we've learned from our previous classic projects, we are ready to add Elfquest Classic as the next in the series. So we look forward to revisiting, rediscovering, and further expanding Pini's world of Two Moons." So the project, they're closely working with the original creators, and it will happen to coincide with the 40th anniversary of the original game. Yeah, so it's going to be on Kickstarter, another crowdfunder on Kickstarter, October of this year. So next month will be the re-release. So it aims to bring the vintage game, its original boxed edition format, including all supplements from the 1984 publications, back into print for this. Especially, and they'll probably do a couple of, if they do what they do with Call of Cthulhu, a couple of different, like this is a recreation of what was released then. This is a little bit thicker box, and it's everything that, came out for the game. So does that get you excited?
Mixed feelings. I owned that old school box set when I was like 14.
Nice. Wow.
And I collected the Elfquest comics for quite a while. And so it's, I mean, in a nostalgia way, it's cool, but I'm thinking I would have rather had an updated game. Because
interesting. Yeah.
Like what I remember of that, it's one of many on the list of why didn't I hold on to it.
Yeah, right. Yes.
But it was super stripped down, and it wasn't like Call of Cthulhu. It was really stripped out and simple. And I don't know. I'd almost rather have them translated to a modern BRP and give you more options.
Yeah. That's interesting. We'll have to take a look at the crowdfunder. I wonder if there is going to be anything, anything about like how to update the rules, or because they want to recreate the original boxes, but I wonder if there will be anything about that. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I wonder like what I mean, I guess there's going to be enough nostalgia for it, and if they wait more than 40 years, people may not be around who remember Elfquest. So they've got to be careful. But I think that's the interesting part about the about BRP is it doesn't really expire. It's still playable.
No.
I think that's a nice part of that system as opposed to other systems that become a little more frustrating. But so the original game was written by Steve Perrin, Sandy Peterson, and Yurik Chodak, and working with the original artists. Creators, the couple that created Elfquest. So happy 40th birthday to Elfquest RPG. We'll see how that goes. So that'll be next month, and we'll find out how that does and who remembers Elfquest. All right, and our last bit of news. We'll end on a happy note. This was a great thing to see. And Matt, you sent me this from the Facebook group. The Two Little Mice Adventures Club posted a wonderful update. So Broken Compass, a game that they Two Little Mice worked on in collaboration with Kaman, is back in their hands. So from their update on the on Facebook, it's our pleasure to inform you that Two Little Mice has reacquired full ownership of Broken Compass. This is great news for us, and we're extremely happy to welcome Broken Compass back into the family. So what does that mean? What are they going to do? Well, they're going to kind of merge Outgunned Adventure and Broken Compass so that they're not, dividing themselves even more with different projects. So those two games will merge, and they'll continue to bring you the same pulp adventure under the Outgunned flag. So there'll be an official second edition of Broken Compass. So what does this mean if you own Broken Compass? So on drive-thru, you'll receive a free PDF of Outgunned Adventure, so you'll have those rules to play Broken Compass with. If you're an Outgunned Adventure backer, you'll receive the soundtrack for Broken Compass for free, together with the Outgunned Adventure soundtrack. And then in the future, they will start updating us on the Broken Compass seasons, the playable campaigns that they will be releasing, and kind of translating those to Outgunned Adventure. If you don't know anything, any of those things on drive-thru, you can receive updates when the new version of the book will be available for free, and you can switch it to Outgunned Adventures. And the last thing they said is, we want to thank our community for supporting us throughout these years and for making this possible. You are the best. And I think without their success, like the success of Outgunned and Household, I don't think this could have happened. I think they've really been knocking it out of the park. Their recent releases, so that gave them the ability to buy that back. So good, it's good to hear.
Yeah, it feels like maybe because that Outgunned Adventure Kickstarter was very successful for them. Mm-hmm. So I guess we know where they spent some of that money.
Yes. Yeah, and I think
I didn't realize until after that Kickstarter was done that Broken Compass was kind of like version 1 of what became Outgunned and then Outgunned Adventure. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple people say it's a similar system, but it's been changed. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering how they're going to handle, like, are they going to just use Broken Compass terminology and then this new Outgunned Adventure version of the system, or what they're going to do with all that?
Yeah, I wonder if there's anybody there's going to be things in the original system that people will miss. And if Outgunned Adventure, like streamlines it too much or eliminates stuff that was charming to them. But so they're going to be working on a second edition, so we'll see what that looks like. So we can maybe expect another crowdfunder of Broken Compass 2E with more custom dice and more beautifully presented books, and that poor illustrator working her little heart out to to keep creating all the images for the character classes. But but that's great. I'm glad that their success is actually, they're reinvesting in the company. They're kind of bringing everything in house. So that's not out there, because if they had just continued success and they always had that, you remember our first game that we did with Kaman, and we never can touch that again. Yeah, they can kind of go back and refresh that. So good to see. And I think it may be smart to not divide themselves, because if there is still a decent fan base for Broken Compass, if they made that yet another thing they had to develop and they had to keep producing content and supporting, yet another system or setting, it might keep them to a little too spread a little thin, or maybe hard to keep all the fan bases happy. So I think it might be a good move to include it as part of Outgunned Adventure.
Yep.
So yeah, pretty cool. That was great news, and thanks for sending me that, Matt. That was I didn't see that when they first posted it, so it was good to see that they're doing well. So I'm curious, what's next? What's their next crowdfunder and what they're going to be doing? And speaking of Outgunned, we're going to be playing some Outgunned tomorrow. Yeah, so about this time, one of us will be almost dead. Our grit track will be pretty diminished by about this time. And they might be one of the older characters. I'm not pointing any fingers, but I'm saying that the elderly characters tend to push themselves a little harder than they should.
Yeah, I was surprised we got a death roulette roll in the very first scene.
Yes.
That was pretty
Yes.
And it wasn't the guy that jumped on the back of a car.
It wasn't. But that guy, I think that guy's job is in jeopardy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He's going to be doing desk work. The next session is going to just be all desk work, I think. So thank you so much, Matt, for joining me. That is all for this week. So a bunch of little updates, and of course I'll put links to everything that has a crowdfunder or a page to look at in the description. And see if there's anything that sounded interesting to you. Yeah, pretty wide range of everything. And it seems like, I guess, trying to get stuff in before the holidays. October seems to be a busy month for crowdfunding. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, that means that, you're not going to see that game until for a while. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, there's still stuff hanging out there from previous Octobers. So Matt, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram and Threads. It's at Hargald. That's HAARGALD. Where I usually talk about games, occasionally other things. And right now, what are we talking about? Oh, right now I'm just trying to not make all these WotC folks feel bad. I'm resisting the temptation to say, "Ha ha, that's what you get." But yeah, stop by, send me a note. How about you?
Oh, I have an October live stream coming up. I got to get that done before the end of this month. So sometime next week, I'll be doing my Abuse Cartoons live stream. So I draw my single panel gag cartoon, Domestic Abuse, and eat some snacks from the Japanese convenience store. And I've been kind of interspersing those throughout the stream because I was choosing that to be one segment kind of in the middle, but I get hungry. It's like a 4-hour stream. So it works better when I just take a break and try something strange from the convenience store. So that's on YouTube and Twitch at Abuse Cartoons. And you can also read that cartoon at GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse. 20 years, thousands of those little buggers are available. And I think October, we're probably going to do a lot of Halloween gags. That tends to be the thing. October ends up being a lot of Halloween candy jokes. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And if you like what we're doing here at the Weekly, consider becoming a weekling. You can do that at patreon.com/upturntable. And that's just one of the tiers that you can pledge at, and basically let us know what you want to see more of, lore videos, actual plays, reviews, unboxings, and kind of flip throughs of new products. So everything tabletop. And just let us know. And you can also, as well, if you want to get that same content early and also exclusive patron and members only content, you can become a member on the YouTube channel. So the join button below this video or on the YouTube channel to get access to those same things. The only difference is the RSS feed, which will have the full audio for this live stream, is only on the Patreon until YouTube gets their YouTube Google Music thing figured out. We can't do member only podcast content on YouTube, but we will eventually. I'm sure they'll have to get that making sense because they converted every podcast over to YouTube music for some reason. But thanks so much for joining us. And Upturn Table on all social media. Upturntable.com is the website where you can find everything. And thanks so much to the existing patrons and members for supporting us. And of course, you can become a free patron on Patreon, and then you'll get updates for everything we do. And a lot of audio only stuff goes on the outside of Patreon as well, because it's maybe too big for the RSS feed or doesn't have a place on YouTube. So check that out, and you'll get updated with everything we do. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.